is here. You all tuned into the Cartoon Network Halloween video. A lot of you said that you would like to see a Cartoon Network Halloween special ranking video. So I threw one together. I'm very busy with work at the moment, but wanted to make this a quality ranking video for you all, but also for myself, as Cartoon Network Halloween is something I hold near and dear to my heart as an aging millennial. Now I'll be reading off the entries in no specific order while placing them in one of 4 different spots of our ranking haunted house. It goes basement, first floor, second floor, and then our number 1 Cartoon Network special will be in the attic. This was a blast to put together for you all, although I do wish I had more time, but October is escaping me. Alright, let's get it. And just to elaborate a little bit, the basement is forgettable, but still worth a watch. First floor is good fun, has Halloween vibes, but may not be as strong or memorable as the others on the second floor or top floor. The top/second floor is for the illustrious magical Halloween specials that Cartoon Network has cooked up so far and are must-watches. Our attic spot, as you may have guessed, is our top-ranked favorite Cartoon Network Halloween special ever. Alright, it's time. Ed, and Eddy's Boo-Ha-Ha. Man, I cannot lie and say that this is not a certified Halloween classic. I mean, the title alone should suggest that this episode's central theme is a spooky Halloween night. Destination, Spookyville. Ambience is off the charts as we start off with the view of Ed watching classic horror movies. This is a nice nod to all the people in movies in real life who are always watching a classic black and white scary movie on the screen as Halloween night unfolds. The magic picks up as Eddy and Double D head over to Ed's place to see his eyes glowing in a hypnotic state from watching too many scary movies. Eddy suggests a plan to use a map given to him by his older brother to trick-or-treat the fabled streets of Spookyville. I love the autumn update that Eddy and Double D received to their normal outfits, and then bam, we are presented with the trio's outfits. Lothar, the Viking, Zombie Elvis, and who could forget Double D's iconic crash out, as Eddy cannot guess his costume. To be fair, I would have guessed a germ or an amoeba, and not the bubonic plague. Ed then spots the Canker sisters. Instead of seeing them as themselves, he sees them as 3 grotesque witches. I also forgot the iconic line of, "You guys know toasted marshmallows gives me the toots." Classic. And then, right after that, "Something wicked this way comes," is screamed by Ed as we see the most wholesome kid on the block skipping his way down the sidewalk, Jimmy. Poor Jimmy. Ed's horror vision kicks in again, seeing Jimmy as some kind of alien robot with a space ray gun, which definitely isn't just a flashlight. And he faces the wrath of Ed. Ed practically bodies Jimmy, while Eddy takes his candy, leaving one very angry Sarah, who plans to unleash havoc on the Ed boys. Ed sees Sarah as some horrific vampire queen. I must say the horror visuals here really do rival those of Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like, this art style is insane. Anyway, Ed then wrecks Sarah, and the hunt for Spookyville continues. There's so much Halloween theming, the atmosphere, the costumes, the soundtrack, Ed losing his sanity thanks to binging horror movies. It's all just magical. I've always had one gripe with this episode, and it is a minor one, but it is very much on brand with the show as a whole. Spoiler warning, there's no Spookyville. It was an elaborate trick by Eddy's older brother to have him waste his night searching for this fabled neighborhood, which is just the boys' cul-de-sac. The other kids get their revenge on the Ed boys at the end of the episode, which I've always gotten a kick out of, but I really wanted to see Spookyville, and for Lothar to absolutely snap once he got to a neighborhood fully decorated and bustling with kids trick-or-treating. Sadly, we never get that. I still crumble in laughter when Ed has one final vision, and this is the only time when they are in actual danger. Yet he sits back on his rock recliner saying, "Lothar defeated all the monsters. Don't fear." As the kids begin to circle Double D and Eddy to exact their revenge. Again, just one minor complaint in this Halloweeny, magical, spooky special. Ed and Eddy's boo-ha-ha, as I'm sure was expected, is chilling near the top of our ranking haunted house. Which special will end up in the attic at our number one spot though? Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween. Thinking back, I'm almost certain this is my first Cartoon Network Halloween special for me. I remember finishing up trick-or-treating, dumping my haul on the floor to divvy up, and I specifically remember Simpsons Treehouse of Horror Burger King commercial, playing with the tongue color changing icy. Already we're scoring points for nostalgia. But how does the Halloween aspect hold up in this Halloween-themed episode of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy? After all, there is an entire hour-long Halloween special from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy as well. Let's find out. A dark living room is where we start our episode with the sights and sounds of a flashing TV and a terrified Billy. He's watching a commercial about a chainsaw and is now fearful that the chainsaw-wielding man from the commercial will bust through his door. And then boom, we hear knocking at the front door. Mandy has arrived with Grim in her hand. Well, Grim's head anyway. And she's Hamlet. And Grim is the decapitated head of, well, Hamlet. Foreshadowing, perhaps? We then see Erwin, as he has a running gag through this episode about his costume not being scary enough. Mandy rejects his current costume as a princess. It's not scary to Mandy, and he swears to her that he will return, this time with a scarier costume. Now that it's just Billy, Mandy, and Grim, they begin discussing Halloween trick-or-treating plans. Already, we have the scary vibe of Halloween, the levity of Erwin's costumes, and a general excitement to see what the shenanigans the group get up to while trick-or-treating. We're off to a great start here. Billy does not have a costume, so he throws together a Grim Reaper one and a snap. Only thing he's forgetting is a scythe. Good thing Grim may have one, right? Billy asks to use the scythe as well as the origin of the tricks committed on Halloween. One origin story later, and we get to learn about Jack, the Ennsville prankster, whom one day tricked too far and lost his head for it. Billy hardly believes the story, as Mandy sets the plan for her and Grim to trick-or-treat uptown while Billy beats downtown in Erwin's job. And Erwin's job is simply to get a spookier outfit, this time as he's some kind of red-backed turtle complete with baby eggs and all. So, yeah. What house does Billy happen to stumble upon while trick-or-treating? Why, it's the house of our prank-loving, pumpkin-headed Jack. Billy goes to get candy, as Jack reluctantly answers, but his interest is piqued once he sees Billy with a scythe, as Billy exclaims that it's the actual scythe of the Reaper. Jack then takes advantage of Billy's still developing brain, and he takes him on an adventure to raise the dead, or at least pumpkins, as Jack wishes to have an army against the Grim Reaper. We have high stakes as Jack now has a scythe and can remove the head of Grim permanently to exact his revenge. With an incredibly engaging plot full of a new character's backstory, Erwin keeps coming back with the most adorable costumes, much to Mandy's frustration, and all in all, this has checked off every single box for me when it comes to a Halloween special. The Halloween atmosphere is through the roof. The plot is more than engaging. The decorations we see throughout the episode are absolutely great. It is equal parts spooky, hilarious, and overall Halloweeny. Billy and Mandy's Jacked Up Halloween is going on the top floor of our haunted house, but still unsure if it'll be the one to hit the top spot and end up in the haunted attic. Let's continue. Chowder, the spookiest house in Marzipan. Chowder Halloween? I don't really remember a bona fide Halloween special, but I am remembering this episode slowly as I watch it. And hey, wouldn't you know it? It is a Chowder special with the puppet version of Gazpacho welcoming us to the show, promising a very scary episode of Chowder as some creepy, hairy creature's hand starts to reach for Gazpacho. Again, capturing the spirit of Halloween and its aesthetic is pretty crucial to the ranking system. So let's see how Chowder's Halloween themed episode stacks up to the competition. I also have to mention, Chowder was an absolute favorite of mine growing up. Alright, carrying on. Chowder has to deliver some sandwiches to a very spooky house in Marzipan, which happens to be directly across from Mung Dolls. After trying to bargain with Gazpacho reluctantly joins Chowder in trying to deliver the sandwiches. Chowder also begins screaming about Gazpacho gluing carpet all over his body since he is allegedly hairless from the neck down. Dick move, Chowder. They attempt to deliver the sandwich to the haunted house, which looks like it's owned by Miss Endive. But we know she lives across the town, so it's not her. The duo gets spooked and retreat from the house. Chowder then goes on to use the same tactic on Gorgonzola, screaming about Gorgonzola having to wear girls' underwear since he can't find boys' underwear in a proper size. Thus, Gorgonzola agrees to help. Panini, of course, is a part of the squad as she brought Chowder a triple layer thrice cream bingo cake, which Chowder wishes to devour. To use the cake as bait and try to knock out the spooky house owner. Gazpacho mentions that he's too scared as an excuse for why he has to go home and can apparently hear Mother calling him. One by one, the haunted house's owner suck in Panini, Gorgonzola, and then Chowder to reveal that the owner of the house was actually Gazpacho. Or his mom, or it's not super clear, but to me, this is a nod from the iconic slasher movie Psycho, and it's Gazpacho sitting in the rocking chair as his mother in order to score some cake and sandwiches. I can't even remember if we ever meet Gazpacho's mom, or if she is the imaginary scapegoat created by Gazpacho and doesn't actually exist. Conspiracy video on the way. This episode is technically a two-parter, as the next episode stays a bit spooky with Chowder being possessed by an old plate of chicken. Possessed Chowder is a tiny bit chilling, but overall it's just a fun episode that again brought a smile to my face. So nostalgic points were scored, spooky points were scored, but no real Halloween points scored. Is there really no Halloween or equivalent in Marzipan? Chowder's Halloween episodes are going to be right out of the basement, but only on the first floor in our ranking house. So not the bottom of the bottom at all, but just was not Halloweeny enough to put on the top floor or anywhere higher. Still love you, Chowder. Foster's Nightmare on Wilson Way. Now, it's known to a lot that Foster's empower, and that right there sends a wave of nostalgia down my spine. Did anyone else pick up a pair of those 3D glasses for the Halloween edition of Cartoon Fridays? I actually have not seen this episode in its entirety in years, and I'm not sure why, as I try and tackle my favorite childhood specials every year, to have revisited Foster's this year. Remember Mac's candy allergy? Effect Blue also dons an amazing Mojo Jojo costume from the previous year's Halloween. And of course, this makes so much sense for Blue's character. Madam Foster kills me when shown in her Yoda costume. Chef's kiss on that one. The other minor plot Blue regard goes to Mr. Harriman with his can of snake brittle, and boom, Harriman opens the can and is dead. He has a heart attack, and Blue then has to carry around the body of Harriman unsuspectedly, like a weekend at Bernie's, as he does not want anyone else to find out that he accidentally killed Harriman. Frankie, in her Blossom costume, is tasked with taking out all the friends to go trick-or-treating, while Blue finds a way to rid of Harriman's body. Blue finally finds a good resting spot for Harriman and haphazardly buries him. I mean, just look at his buried job. Moments later, as Blue feels safe, Zombie Harriman makes his debut, much to the horror and shock and dismay of Blue. One by one, the infection spreads until the only one alive are Mac and Blue. Blue pours candy into Mac's mouth, rendering him into a human werewolf. I mean, look at his mouth. Bro would definitely bite someone's head clean off if forced to. Mac deploys utter chaos to the home and the friends and is let loose on the street of Wilson Way. Oh, and Blossom is now Bubbles all of a sudden. I guess it was because Frankie was also going as Blossom. Anyways, Harriman goes back to normal, as this has all been a trick to get back at Blue for his years of tricking at the house. A very elaborate trick gone awry. Everyone's fine. After all, it was just a trick. A very solid Halloween episode that deserves its praise for being wacky, actually terrifying at times considering I actually thought members of Foster's were dying one by one, and that the entire episode is centered around Halloween. Also, it's really cool that you can see the 3D shots that were drawn in there to the episode, in particular for the 3D event on that Halloween. I think this means that Foster's, it's making its way up the stairs, going to the top floor of our ranking haunted house. But we have plenty more to cover, so moving on. Next up, we have Scary Godmother. I still remember the exact spot in the living room I was in, the crisscross applesauce position I was sitting in the boxy 32-inch Zenith TV in the living room I initially watched this on. I was not expecting much as a kid for a 3D/2D Halloween special, nor was I expecting much from anything because I was a kid when this came out. That freedom of having no responsibility aside from homework, which is so dang trivial now that we're grown. Hannah wants to trick or treat with the big kids this year. We start off with a look of the neighborhood, again oozing with the Halloween spirit, as it should, as Halloween Spooktacular is in the full name of the special. The kids are Bert, Daryl, Katie, and then Jimmy, Hannah's cousin. Jimmy is not excited about Hannah joining him and his friends for trick-or-treating, so they make a plan to lock her inside of the neighborhood's infamous spook house. They are successful, and poor, wholesome Hannah is horrified as she learns that they locked her in. Eventually, through her sobbing tears, Scary Godmother begins to comfort her with boo-hoos, triggering Hannah to ask her why she's crying. Scary Godmother announces that she is Hannah's, scary godmother, and they then journey to the Fright Side, a realm opposite of ours full of monsters and creatures, Hannah's worst nightmare. After a night of meeting the monsters and slowly warming up to them, Hannah joins in the Halloween party and ends up having a way more fun night than the older kids, which most regret what they've done now as they feel bad, but mainly because they wasted their night trick-or-treating. Hannah returns with the monsters to the spook house as they leave the Fright Side with the goal of scaring Hannah's friends as they scared her. Hannah has new best friends now, and they aren't the human monsters who locked her in the spook house, rather the actual monsters she met on the Fright Side. Nothing makes me more nostalgic for Halloween than Scary Godmother, but then I remember Jacked Up Halloween, I remember Underfist, Tales from Terror Park, Ed, Edd n Eddy's Boo Ha Ha, and my brain swirls with fantastic Halloween spirit-fueled specials. Scary Godmother easily earns a top floor spot in this ranking haunted house. Does she go into the attic of the spook house? Or does that belong to Underfist, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Kids Next Door, Foster's, So much Halloweeny nostalgia. This decision is not going to be easy. Who will earn the attic spot as the best Cartoon Network Halloween special? Regular show Tales of Terror Park. The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, but regular show instead. This has to take the cake, or well, Jack-o'-lantern, as a top spot, right? Well, let's see. As amazing as some of the stories are, others simply fall flat and don't try too hard to encapsulate the spirit of Halloween. I think the closest that we get is the first Tales of Terror Park. It is the best one in my opinion, but I am including all Terror Park episodes in the ranking. The first entry of Terror Park has some great moments like Mordecai trick-or-treating with his kids. The robot kids dressed as ghosts backfire as Mordecai runs away, and then Rigby jumps out and terrifies that same lady Mordecai was trying to scam out of extra candy as he jumps out of the bush and screams trick-or-treat at her dressed as a burglar. Mordecai wants to call it a night as he's had enough candy, but Rigby is far from done as he eggs a house belonging to an ancient wizard who exacts his revenge by turning Rigby into a house. Odd but Halloweeny, classic, still puts a smile on my face. This was the first Terror Park special, which adds some magic to this one, and this one tries to encapsulate the magic of Halloween while mildly blending some horror. The doll section is great and adds some actual chills for a couple of minutes at least. And then we have the Crash Pit section, which honestly seems like it could have been a part of any normal episode. Either way, there was some spooky nostalgia here, mainly from the first section of the special, which is gonna put regular show Halloween towards the middle of the ranking house, on the first floor, but starting to head up the stairs. It's the Great Pumpkin, Juniper Lee. You guys remember Juniper Lee? I remember the theme song, if that counts, and perhaps the Scottish dog. That theme song did slap though. Anyways, there is a Halloween episode, and it's titled It's the Great Pumpkin, Juniper Lee, paying homage to the Peanuts, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. So I am expecting some Halloween heat with this one. Starting off, it's amazing. We are shown the excitement of planning a Halloween night of the main cast trick-or-treating, as well as the costumes they'll be wearing. So far, I'm having a lot of fun with this, and the Halloween spirit is shimmering through the screen. To top that off, the kicker of this one is June's younger bro, Ray Ray, asks her what the monsters do on Halloween, as June informs him that they dress as people, flipping the script on Halloween, which is a pretty cool concept. The clock hits midnight. Ray Ray is on a sugar high of his life. He comes into June's room all cranked up as the monsters begin throwing candy corn at June's window to get her attention. Apparently, the monsters who typically switch back at midnight are stuck in human form and are panicking. Again, a very neat concept that very quickly fizzles out. The Halloween aspect of the episode stops there completely, and the rest of the episode shows June arguing with the monster's CEO businesswoman who is charged with turning the kids back into monsters. The only way to do so is with the legendary smoothie that the CEO enjoyed when she was just an assistant. June then goes from location to location. Not one of them is spooky or Halloween inspired. The majority of the episode is spent in a wrestling ring. We had 5 minutes of a really awesome Halloween vibe that is quickly lost on us viewers. And again, with the name It's the Great Pumpkin, Juniper Lee, I was truly expecting some Halloween thrills, chills, and magic. We hardly got any of that. At this point, we can assume I'm placing Juniper Lee's Halloween special in the basement of our haunted house. At least they made a special, I suppose. Kids Next Door, Operation Tricky. Some of these specials are standard length episodes, meaning there's roughly 10 minutes of content that the creators can, create. With that said, I was not expecting much from Kids Next Door, and their Halloween episode and I was honestly a bit surprised. A banger opening sequence of Nigel and the others in their costumes playing out a body snatchers type of joke, asking number 4 to join them with trick-or-treating. We have trick-or-treating vibes. Number 4's iconic costume, which is literally just a piece of cardboard that reads "Gimme." And I did not think I remembered this episode well until the butterscotch husband and wife. This married couple who seem to be having a blast with Halloween give number 4 the iconic singular piece of butterscotch candy. After all, number 4 is in a contest to see if he can get more candy than the others. And he's actually super excited to get his first piece. So of course Sticky Beard uses a fake haunted house to take the piece of butterscotch, leaving number 4 to try and battle the pirates for his candy back. All in all, a solid episode of Kids Next Door that made me smile. I did kind of wish it didn't become a Sticky Beard episode, as there are plenty of them in the series, but I'll take what I can get when it comes to Halloween. And I mean, it does make sense as he is a candy-centric villain. The theming is there, the spirit's there, but it definitely could have been a dedicated 20-minute episode with more Halloween magic going on. We are off to a good start though, although not great. So let's keep this on the first floor of the spooky ranking mansion, but closer to the basement than the stairs, as I was expecting a bit more. Alright. Now you all may hate me for this one, and I will completely understand if you do, but this next submission is not going into the rankings, but it is a huge honorable mention that had to be brought up. There are a few reasons why it's not going on the list, and not one of them is because they don't deserve to be here. Let me explain. Over the Garden Wall. I made a video on this last year stating how it's one of my all-time favorite shows, so I figured it would be unfair to add as I'm trying to remain hyper-focused on my childhood Halloween Cartoon Network favorites. The other reason is that although Halloween was the catalyst to the plot, it is not the focal point. It's partly a Halloween time and partly a fantastic fall time miniseries. I think Over the Garden Wall can be enjoyed from August to late November, while the other specials on the list are really only for October. Please check out the Over the Garden Wall video that I'll place right here. And just being transparent with you all, if I did, it's more than likely that it would have won, even if it is a bit less Halloween-y than the others, as it's simply just one of my favorite cartoons to exist. Finally, it's not on the list because although I do claim it as being a favorite, I didn't grow up with this special. I still think it's a bit too new to add to the list. Feel free to disagree with me on that. Completely understandable. But it's my list. Mine. Make your own. Anyways, please go watch Over the Garden Wall if you haven't, and go ahead and show your little ones if you have any. They will be greatly entertained. And if you have seen Over the Garden Wall, go check it out again. This miniseries is timeless. Underfist Halloween Bash. I remember savoring every second of Billy and Mandy's jacked up Halloween when it first aired, and I did so for a couple years until a major surprise from Maxwell Adams punched me in the face. And he didn't punch me with a fist, he punched me with an underfist. 2 perfectly crafted Halloween specials is a pretty amazing feat to accomplish, and the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy do this effortlessly. Underfist has a completely different tone than Jacked Up Halloween, but both explode and exude with the Halloween spirit. This is a Halloween tale centered on Irwin and Haas Delgado, as Irwin just wants to trick-or-treat with his buds on Halloween, but Billy and Mandy decide to call it quits early, leaving Irwin on his own. Haas is shown to be a weirdo to the other kids, as Haas is on edge during Halloween as he hates monsters of any kind. As Irwin is about to give up, there's no saving the night, Mindy yells towards him to come help her out and trick-or-treat this creepy house. Of course, it's a trap that unleashes Halloween candy horror into Ennsville as an army of trick-or-treater eaters is formed by Mandy. Haas and Irwin must team up and attempt to stop the hostile candy takeover. And let me remind you, these trick-or-treater eaters are sick of being snacks each year, and now are looking to make snacks out of human trick-or-treaters. The trick-or-treater song, by the way, an absolute banger. I would include it here, but it seems every piece of media is being copyright claimed, so sadly it's, here. It's also why I'm using very minimal footage for each special that we cover. Remember Haas hating all monsters and anything that has to do with them? Well, he doesn't know that Irwin is half mummy, half vampire, which we also get to see Irwin's full power here, which really makes me wish we got a spin-off show for Irwin. I mean, come on. Future video is coming on what that would look like. After teaming with Haas, the boys realize that they need a squad. So naturally, they get Scar, aka the one-eyed weirdo, whom after getting irritated at Halloween in general, agrees to join. Then we have Jeff the Spider and Fred Burger, who actually create the name and uniforms for their newfound team, Underfist. Irwin has to navigate his fears, his hidden secret, and more in this special. We do get appearances from Billy, Mandy, and Grim, albeit for not too long, but just enough to make it feel like a Grim Adventure special. And apparently Underfist was supposedly the penultimate finale of Billy and Mandy. For the full plot of Underfist, I would recommend just giving it a watch. But here's a gist. A team of mismatched underdogs, or Underfists, must take on Mandy and her army of trick-or-treater eaters. Oh, and at the beginning of the special, during the Halloween parade, keep an eye out for Chowder, as C.H. Greenblatt not only voices Fred Burger, but also created Chowder, as well as working on Billy and Mandy. Halloween spirit is here, trick-or-treating is here, general fun, spooky vibes are here. Jacked up Halloween, you have some serious competition on your hands, as we move Underfist on the top floor of our haunted house right under the attic. But will it get that top spot? I've loved Scooby-Doo since a kid, so I of course had to add what's new Scooby-Doo's Halloween episode. You know what? Scratch that. People of my era, the real ones know that the true Scooby-Doo Halloween special is called Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King. The What's New Scooby-Doo Halloween episode does hold nostalgia for me, but it was way too short, way too simple, not very Halloween-y, and predictable, which is a bit wild considering that the episode takes place in a town that is actively celebrating Halloween like religion. Anyways, the superior Halloween Scooby special is the Goblin King. The intro has beautiful Halloween-y flair. The beginning shows Shag and Scoobs revealing a magician's trick in front of the audience, something you never do. And it's not only one of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies, but it really sets a tone for Halloween. Honorable mentions for me are The Witch's Ghost, but that takes place on Thanksgiving. The other would be Zombie Island, but that is not a holiday or Halloween-themed movie, but an amazing, timeless, spooky Scooby movie. Say that 5 times fast. Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King is my Halloween pick. As far as rankings, it's going to the top floor of the haunted house. I'm just not exactly sure where yet, so I guess we gotta keep going. Alright, so for that illustrious top spot in our haunted attic, you guys see the contenders here, and I've listed reasons for why each one is a bona fide Halloween special classic. Alas, there can only be one. Foster's holds so much nostalgia, and Nightmare on Wilson Way is one of the more memorable episodes to me, and it's an almost perfect Halloween special. It packs a Halloween-y punch like I was not expecting from the show, and great references are jam-packed in it. Ed and Eddy's Boo Ha Ha is something I hold near and dear to my heart and always will. I forget how quotable this show and this episode in particular are, The striking visuals we get are insane, and the feeling of Halloween is exuding through every frame of the episode. Not to mention all the laughs. I will watch this every year until I die. Scary Godmother is a movie that will forever resonate with that childlike wonder that exists somewhere within me. I got so lost in the realm of the fright side when I was younger that I could picture myself living there, as dumb or wishful as that may sound. A goofy, lighthearted, although it has some mean-spirited moments thanks to Jimmy and friends, but most importantly, Halloweeny. Maxwell Adams, the creator of the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy, made not only one, but two expertly crafted Halloween specials. From the world of Billy and Mandy, I expect a Halloween special, and we got two certified bangers. Jacked Up Halloween is just as nostalgic for me as any other entry, and I love every second of it. And then I didn't get hit by a fist, but by an underfist. I was caught so off guard by how much I enjoyed every single second of this work of art. Banger song, trick-or-treater eaters, striking visuals, amazing plot and character development. I don't know how he did it, but he did, and thank you, Maxwell Adams. So with that said, it should be no surprise that my favorite all-time Cartoon Network Halloween special that I think is the very best is Scary Godmother. Scary Godmother is a movie that will forever resonate with that childlike wonder that exists somewhere within me. I think part of me knew that when watching for the first time, that this was something truly unique and once in a lifetime. You guys, I was so ensnared in the world that Jill Thompson created, I actually reached out and wrote her on the very, very early days of Twitter if she would be making a third movie for Cartoon Network, and to my surprise, she actually responded to me, saying that although she would love to, Cartoon Network never reached out about making a third movie. Looking back, I see a film that sees the sad, lost, lonely heart of a child, and in one fell swoop of a flying broom, takes that heart, holds it, warms it back up, and awakens it to the wonder of not only Halloween, but, well, life. I know it sounds dramatic, but this is the impact that Scary Godmother had on me. Complete and utter magic. And that soundtrack, I mean, come on. I cannot go one Halloween without listening to some kind of surf rock or Halloween rockabilly because of it. The sounds, the sights, and feels scream Halloween. And that's why Scary Godmother barely takes the haunted attic. Kinda ironic, huh? Placing her in the spook house, essentially. I think Scary Godmother can warm even the coldest of hearts and absolutely sets the jack-o'-lantern of Halloween spirit ablaze. The animation has been said to be uncanny, insanely articulate, jumbled at times, yet even those who criticize it seem to be in love with that art style in some shape or form. Thank you, Jill Thompson, for creating the books that later turned into this beautiful TV special. Now, don't go yet. I have to round out my top 3 and reveal the final order of the ranking haunted spook house. My number 2 is Ed, Edd n Eddy's Boo Ha Ha. And even that was tough because, again, it has everything I want in a special, with the tiniest gripe that Spookyville wasn't real, but that wasn't the point. The Ed Boys were still on a Halloweeny journey, and this episode still sticks with me to this day. It barely beat out my number 3, which is Underfist. Even that was hard. Underfist and Jacked Up Halloween are works of art, and they truly, truly are. But Underfist to me just had that extra punch to it. And although Jacked Up Halloween may be my first true Halloween special that I can pull from memory, Underfist is just undeniable in its charm, development, plot, and Halloween essence. That is Day Trip's top 3 Cartoon Network Halloween special ranking, with Scary Godmother sitting high and Friday at number 1 and The Haunted Attic. We can see the exact rankings here, and I'll give you guys my number 4 and 5 real quick. Number 4 obviously is Jacked Up Halloween, and then number 5 goes to Nightmare on Wilson Way from Foster's Home. Guys, I want to thank everyone who watched my Cartoon Network Halloween video and for commenting on how much it meant to you as well. We're in this together, and I'd like to say that we have each other's backs. I love Halloween as much as I love Cartoon Network and that era of late 90s, 2000s wholesomeness. Memory Lane is an awesome spot to return to when we need some magic back in our lives. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for checking out this video as well. If you can do that whole liking thing, and if you think I earned it, feel free to subscribe. I'd love to hear your personal rankings in the comments. You can tell me your number 1 of all time, your top 3, top 5, or make me a whole list from 0 to 10 like I did. Please let me know if you'd like a Disney Channel Monstober ranking video as well. It would be ranking Disney Channel original Halloween movies, as well as Halloween themed episodes. It would come out after Halloween, but either way, let me know if that's something you would enjoy, and I wish you all the happiest of Halloweens. And guys, we're gonna go crazy with the Christmas Cartoon Network specials, so more on the way. Until then, thank you so much for tuning into Day Trip TV. Keep an eye out for the Disney Channel original Halloween movie ranking video. Alright, that's about it. Stay spooky.